A mountain lion targeted a child, then a golden retriever did the unthinkable. Leo's paws hit the porch at 6:14 a.m. and he didn't move after that. Just stood there, 90 pounds of golden fur locked solid, staring at the tree line like he could see through it. Claire heard the sound from the kitchen, that specific thud of a dog landing on wood and then going completely still. The kind of still that means something. Third morning in a row, she walked to the window and her stomach dropped. Because Leo wasn't doing his normal golden retriever thing. The tail wag, the look back at her for approval, the eager, "Did I do good?" energy that made the breed famous. He was doing something else, something older. His hackles were up, and golden retrievers don't do hackles unless something's very, very wrong. The cabin sat 11 miles west of Whitefish, Montana, where the Flathead National Forest stops being a postcard and starts being something that kills you if you're stupid. Their neighbor, a guy who ran a plow service in winter, had mentioned it their second day there. "You got a dog, right? Good. Keep him close. We had a cat take a calf last month." Claire hadn't asked what kind of cat. Didn't need to. Montana had one kind of cat that took calves, mountain lion. She grabbed the binoculars, scanned the trees. Nothing but pine and shadow and morning light that made everything look peaceful right up until it wasn't. But Leo's growl, low, barely audible, the kind you feel more than hear, didn't stop. Her son Tommy was still asleep upstairs, 6 years old, sick last winter with pneumonia that scared the hell out of 3 different doctors in Kalispell. Weak lungs. That's what they kept saying. Avoid stress. Avoid exertion. Avoid anything that spikes his heart rate too fast. So they'd come here. Fresh air. Quiet. A place where a kid could be a kid. What they didn't say, what nobody mentioned, was what happens when your 6-year-old sees a butterfly and walks 20 feet into a forest that has apex predators in it. Leo bolted. Straight off the porch, into the trees, gone. No warning. Just the crash of paws through underbrush and then silence. Claire ran to the door. "Leo, get back here." The forest swallowed the sound, and upstairs she heard it. Small feet hitting the floor. "Mom? Where's Leo?" The thing about mountain lions is you don't see them. 140 pounds of tawny muscle that moves through trees like smoke through a room. Silent, fluid, everywhere and nowhere. This one was a female, 8 years old, scar across her left shoulder from a territorial fight she'd lost 2 winters back, pushed north into mountains where the prey was scarce and getting scarcer. She was hungry, the kind of hungry that makes you stupid. She'd been watching the cabin for 3 days. The pattern was clear. Man stays inside, woman does chores, child plays near the tree line. Always with the dog, always loud, always moving like prey moves. The dog, though, golden, large, but soft-looking, not like the ranch dogs she'd seen. The border collies and Australian shepherds that carried themselves like they understood what teeth were for. This one moved like it had been bred for comfort. She'd tested him that first morning. Walked the tree line visible for just a second. The dog barked, high-pitched, uncertain. She slipped back into shadow and the barking stopped. He didn't follow. That told her everything. But when Leo bolted off the porch that third morning, something changed. He came at her fast, zigzagging, nose down, tracking her scent through underbrush like a hound. She hadn't expected that. Most domestic dogs were visual. They saw movement and chased it. But this one was tracking by smell, adjusting his path every few seconds as the wind shifted. She moved, not running, just a smooth slide through the trees, putting distance between them. Testing. He followed, slower now, ears forward, tail rigid. He'd stopped barking. Dogs bark when they're scared or aggressive. Silence meant something else. She paused behind a downed spruce, watched him through the branches. He stopped 30 yards out, head swinging left and right, nose working the air. Then he locked onto her position, and his whole body went still. 2 animals, different worlds. Then she heard it. "Mom, can I go outside? I want to find Leo." The child's voice, high, thin, coming from the cabin. The cougar's ears rotated toward the sound. So did the dog's. For 3 seconds, neither moved. Then the dog did something she didn't expect. He backed up, 2 steps, away from her, toward the cabin. Not running, not fleeing, guarding. He stood there broadside, blocking the path between the trees and the clearing. Head low, legs locked. That growl started again. The cougar understood. This wasn't a hunt. This was a negotiation. and if she crossed that line, the dog would make her pay for it. She could take him, she knew that. But dogs didn't fight like prey. They fought loud, messy, the kind of fight that brought humans with guns. She turned, moved deeper into the forest, not retreating, circling, because prey always makes mistakes. Tommy came outside at 8:47 a.m. wearing his sneakers on the wrong feet. Claire had used her serious voice. Stay on the porch. But Tommy was 6 and 6-year-olds hear commands like suggestions. Leo had come back 20 minutes earlier, panting, paws caked in mud. He'd gone straight to Tommy's side and hadn't moved. Claire checked for injuries. Nothing. But the dog's eyes were different, alert, fixed on the tree line. Mom, there's a butterfly. Claire looked up. Tommy was at the edge of the porch, pointing. Leo sat next to him, tail low, not moving. Tommy, I told you. But he was already moving. Not into the forest, not yet. Just down the steps, across the clearing, toward the edge where grass stopped and underbrush started. Leo pressed against his leg like a shadow with weight. Tommy, stop. He stopped, turned. I'm not going in. I'm just looking. Technically true. He was standing there, 5 feet from the tree line, staring up at a blue butterfly perched on a spruce bough. Leo's growl started before Claire heard anything else. A crack, sharp, movement through brush, fast, close, coming from the left where the forest thickened. Claire saw the shape before her brain processed it. Tawny, low, moving. Tommy, run! The cougar broke from the trees at full speed, not stalking. A 30-mile-per-hour sprint aimed at the small human with his back turned. Tommy froze. Leo moved. 90 pounds of golden fur launched forward and intercepted the charge 3 feet from Tommy's back. The impact sounded like a car hitting a deer. Dull, heavy, wrong. They hit the ground in a tangle. The cougar twisted, claws out, going for the throat. She was faster, designed for this. 10,000 years of evolution telling her exactly where to bite, how to pin, when to crush. But Leo wasn't trying to win. He was buying time. First swipe caught his shoulder. 4 parallel lines opening up, blood welling immediate. He twisted, got his jaws around her front leg. Not a killing bite, a holding bite. The kind you use to control something, keep it exactly where it is. The cougar screamed, high-pitched, primal. She wrenched free, took a chunk of his ear with her back claws. They separated, 3 feet apart, both panting, both bleeding. The cougar's ears went flat, tail lashed. She crouched. Leo stood between her and Tommy, legs shaking. Shoulder open, blood running down his front leg, turning gold fur dark red. Right ear hanging half torn, dripping onto dirt. But he didn't back up. Behind him, Claire had Tommy by the arm, dragging him toward the cabin, screaming for Jack. The cougar's eyes tracked the boy. Came back to Leo. Calculating. Wounded dog. One more rush. Leo's growl came from somewhere deep, not loud, almost a purr. Try it. She gathered her legs. Jack came through the door with the rifle. Didn't know how to hold it. Never fired it. Stock against his shoulder wrong, finger nowhere near the trigger. But it was a rifle. The cougar backed up. 1 step, 2, then turned and melted into the forest. Gone. Except for the blood. And Leo, swaying, still staring at the trees. Then he took 1 step toward the cabin and collapsed. Jack made it to Whitefish in 19 minutes. Should have taken 34. Leo lay across the back seat, head in Tommy's lap, bleeding onto a beach towel. Claire was in back with them, pressing another towel against his shoulder, trying not to think about how much blood a dog could lose. Tommy wasn't crying. That was the worst part. Just sat there, one hand on Leo's head, staring at the dog's closed eyes. Mom, is he gonna die? I wish I could tell you she said no. She wanted to, but she'd learned. Back when Tommy was in the hospital and doctors used words like complications, that's some promises you can't make. I don't know, baby. The vet was Dr. Sarah Kemper. Grew up on a ranch outside Eureka. Seen her share of dogs that tangled with wildlife. She took one look and started shouting orders. Table, IV fluids, gauze, sutures, ketamine kit. Now. 2 hours later, she peeled off her gloves. Leo was stitched, bandaged, unconscious. White gauze wrapped around his head made him look like a war casualty, which Claire thought he was. He's lucky, Dr. Kemper said. Another inch left on that shoulder wound. She'd have hit the brachial artery. He'd have bled out in minutes. Jack hadn't sat down since they arrived. Is he gonna be okay? Dr. Kemper looked at Leo. then at Tommy in the plastic chair, still silent. Physically, yeah, he'll heal. She paused. But you need to understand something. Golden retrievers aren't guard dogs. They're bred to retrieve birds and be gentle with kids. What he did out there, taking on a mountain lion to protect your son, that goes against every instinct in his DNA. Then why'd he do it? Dr. Kemper looked at the dog on the table, chest rising and falling under white gauze. Because he loves that boy more than he loves himself. They brought him home the next day, set up a dog bed near the fireplace. Tommy sat next to him and didn't leave. That night, Claire woke at 2 a.m. to voices. Found Tommy on the floor next to Leo's bed, one arm across the dog's back. Tommy, you should be in bed. He has nightmares, Mom. Claire knelt. What? He keeps shaking, like he's scared. So I'm staying, so he knows he's okay. She looked at Leo, legs twitching, breathing fast, uneven, the body remembering what the mind tried to forget. She lay down next to Tommy, put her hand on Leo's side. Okay, she whispered. We'll stay. The cougar came back 4 days later. Leo heard her first, lying on the porch, his new spot, when his head came up, ears rotating toward the trees. Claire saw it, the way his whole body tensed, lips pulled back from teeth. Jack. He came to the door. What? She's back. They couldn't see her, but Leo could. Nose working the air, and the growl that came out was different, deeper, certain. Jack grabbed the rifle. This time he knew how to hold it. 4 days of YouTube videos on spotty internet, learning to load, aim, fire. He scanned the trees. Maybe he's wrong. Leo's growl said otherwise. Claire looked at the forest, felt something cold in her chest. We need to leave. What? This is her territory, not ours. And that thing out there has decided Tommy's food. That night they packed. They'd leave in the morning, back to Sacramento. Forget the mountains. Tommy sat on his bed watching his mother fold clothes. We're leaving because of me. Claire stopped. What? No. We're leaving because it's not safe. But if I hadn't gone outside. Tommy. She knelt, took his face in her hands. This isn't your fault. None of this. He looked down. Leo got hurt because of me. Leo got hurt because he loves you. That's different. Downstairs, Leo was still on the porch, still staring, still waiting. Because loyalty doesn't have an off switch. The cougar watched from the same outcrop, 200 yards upslope. She'd learned. Direct charges didn't work, but she'd also learned something else. The dog was injured, slower on the right side. Bandages gone, but wounds still fresh, weaker. She waited until the moon set, until the cabin went dark, then moved, not toward the cabin, toward the porch, toward the dog who thought 90 pounds was enough to stand between a predator and a child. Leo smelled her at 3:17 a.m. He'd been dozing, not sleeping, hadn't really slept since the attack, but at 3:17, the wind brought something that pulled him awake. Cougar, close. He stood. Pain shot through his shoulder, hot, deep, radiating down his leg, but pain wasn't a reason to stop. He moved to the porch edge. The clearing was dark, stars bright enough to cast shadows, eyes adjusted, not sharp as hers, but good enough. She was at the far edge, 30 yards out, standing at the tree line, watching. Leo's hackles went up, growls started, vibrating the porch boards. The cougar took 1 step forward. Leo took 1 step down, off the porch, into the clearing. Behind him, the cabin was silent, everyone asleep. The rifle inside, unloaded, no backup. Just a 90-pound golden retriever with stitches and half an ear missing. She took another step, slow, measured, closing distance. He held his ground, testing him, seeing if injuries had changed him, if pain made him hesitant. He didn't back up. 20 yards, then 15. Her tail lashed, ears flat. She crouched. He knew what was coming. The gather, the coil, the explosion. He widened his stance, lowered his head, every muscle locked. She charged. This time Leo was ready. He didn't intercept. He waited, let her commit, let her leave the ground, all 4 paws airborne, trajectory locked, then moved, sideways, hard right. She sailed past, claws raking air where his throat had been. She hit ground, twisted, came back. He was already moving, circling. Every time she charged, he dodged. Inches, just enough. She'd swipe and catch fur, but not flesh. She was getting frustrated, breathing faster, attacks wilder. Good. Frustrated predators make mistakes. but so do tired dogs. His shoulder was screaming. Stitches had opened. Warm blood soaking fur. Breathing ragged. Legs shaking. He couldn't keep this up. She knew. Stopped charging. Just stood there, 15 feet away, panting, watching, waiting for collapse. And Leo, bleeding, exhausted, outmatched, made a choice. He charged her. Not a dodge. Full speed, head down, 90-pound missile aimed at her chest. She didn't expect it. Predators don't expect prey to attack. He hit her like a battering ram. They went down together. This time he went for the throat. Not a hold. A killing bite. The kind his ancestors used on wolves, on bears. Jaws closed around her windpipe. Bit down with everything left. She screamed, twisted, raked his sides with back claws, opening new wounds, painting dirt red. He didn't let go. Couldn't, because if he let go, she'd kill him, and then she'd walk into that cabin. So he held on. 30 seconds. 40. A minute. Her struggles slowed. Claws stopped. Breathing turned shallow. The porch light came on. Jack burst through the door, rifle raised. Saw something from a nightmare. His dog, covered in blood, locked jaw to throat with a mountain lion. He raised the rifle, hands shaking. Didn't need to fire. The cougar went limp, not dead, unconscious. Leo held on another 10 seconds, making sure. Then his jaws opened and he staggered back. She lay in dirt, sides heaving. Still alive. Barely. Jack kept the rifle on her. "Claire, call Fish and Wildlife." Leo took 3 steps toward the porch. Collapsed. Dr. Kemper met them at the clinic a second time. Didn't ask questions. Just worked. This time was worse. More stitches. More blood loss. More damage to tissue still healing. 3 hours in. I'm giving him a transfusion. Antibiotics. More painkillers than I'd normally use. She paused. But his body has limits. If this happens again. It won't, Claire said. We're leaving. Today. Soon as he's stable. They drove back to Sacramento the next morning. Leo in back, wrapped in blankets, head in Tommy's lap. This time Tommy wasn't silent. Talked the whole way. About school, friends, the new room, the park 3 blocks from their house. No mountains, no cougars, just grass and squirrels. Leo's tail thumped once. Weak, but there. 60 miles outside Sacramento. Tommy asked, "Mom, why'd Leo fight her again?" He was already hurt. Claire looked at Jack. Jack looked in the mirror at the dog in back. Bandaged, broken, somehow alive. "Because, baby," Claire said, "some things are worth fighting for, even when you're scared, even when you're hurt." "Like us?" "Yeah, like you." Tommy looked down at Leo, at the scars, the stitches, the missing ear. Put his small hand on Leo's head. "I love you, Leo." The tail thumped again. 2 years later, Tommy turned 8. Birthday party in their Sacramento backyard. 20 kids, 2 pizzas, T-Rex cake. Loud, chaotic, normal. Leo was there. Older, slower. Scars turned to pale lines in gold fur. Missing half ear, his trademark. Neighborhood kids called him Lucky. He spent most of the party in shade watching Tommy run around, tail thumping every time the boy came close. Tommy broke away, sat down next to him, wrapped arms around Leo's neck. "You know what? I'm not scared of the dark anymore." Tail thump. "I figure, if you can fight a mountain lion, I can handle a closet with no nightlight." Party wound down. Kids went home. Sunset. Tommy fell asleep on the couch, chocolate cake on his face. Leo walked to the back door, looked out, checked the fence line, then lay down at the foot of Tommy's couch. The wilderness was 800 miles away. Mountains, trees, granite outcrops where a cougar once watched. All gone. Replaced by streetlights and traffic in a city that never slept. But some things don't need wilderness. Loyalty isn't a place, it's a choice. Every day, every moment, even when it costs everything. Leo closed his eyes. The boy was safe. That was enough. If this story stayed with you, hit subscribe. I tell stories like this every week. Drop a comment. Would you have stayed and fought or run? Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay.